Welcome back, everyone, to the eCoreAcademy e-learning platform. Today, we have a special interview of our Meet the Champ section for you, as I will be interviewing Mr. Devang Patel, who is an extremely successful financial advisor. If you're new around here, my name is AJay Raj, and I'm also one of the co-founders here and teachers at this platform, as I will be opening up this Meet the Champ section with yet our second interview. And this is a very important one, so I hope you guys stay in tune. Before we jump into the actual video and I actually give you guys a bit of a background about Mr. Devang and what his profession is like and what his life is like, what he actually preaches, please make sure to smash that subscribe button down below, hit that like button on this video, turn on post notifications by clicking that little bell icon right next to the subscribe button. Also, feel free to drop a comment down below just to show your support for us so we can continue to make these beautiful and amazing videos for you all. In this interview, I hope you guys can take away some of the important roles of a financial advisor, as Mr. Devang Patel is a financial advisor, as well as some important financial advice for teenagers like yourselves. So when it comes to some background information about Mr. Patel, Mr. Patel is a financial planner and wealth manager at Virtus Wealth Solutions, and he has over 18 years of experience in the finance industry, way more than the average person in this field actually has, after having to go through all of the certifications, internships, getting all those degrees in colleges. So it's extremely impressive, and he shows how passionate he is and how really obsessed he is with his job, to a point where he has absolutely fallen in love with it, and he wants other clients to benefit from it as well. So when it comes to his personal life, what certificates does he have? He has a CFP and a CPWA, and this he will explain in his video exactly, in this interview, exactly what those stand for, what those certificates stand for, why you need them, and why they're so important as a financial advisor. He also has a master's in computer science, as he went to the University of Southern California in Los Angeles, California. There he had majored in his computer science and actually got a master's there, but he describes how he actually shifted from his engineering and experiences in computer science to his financial realm and his passion as of now. So he also has an executive master's in technology management from the Stevens Institute of Technology, which is very local to us, and it's also a very prestigious college. He's a part of the YPO and eOR organizations, and he manages a total wealth over $500 million. So that's $500 million, just to bring into aspect and perspective of the aspect. So that's not small money, and this man is extremely successful, but he's also a great person to talk to. And I hope you guys can take away as much advice as I did on a personal level from this video. So I hope you guys enjoy this interview. All right, thank you, Mr. Patel, for joining this interview hosted by the eCoreAcademy e-learning platform. I'm honored and thrilled to speak to you today. As we are all amidst this pandemic, what did your world look like? And I know that the stock market had a wild ride last year due to the pandemic. How are you able to cope with these situations and these conditions? So what was your pandemic like, and how exactly were you able to cope with the wild stock market?
Thanks, AJ, for allowing me to share my experiences with you. So the pandemic was initially just like everybody else. It caught us by surprise. Nobody knew what was going on. But as usual, we did everything that we are trained to do. It's almost like you being a pilot and something going wrong with the engine, you go with your checklist. So similar approach we took. We started going down our checklist and say, we have already thought through and put all these processes in place for investments for our clients. So we do two things for our clients. We give them perspective and do their planning. And the second part of our life is do the money management piece for them. If we only did money management, it would have been difficult for us to keep our clients in the market or do the right things. But because we do both, we were able to bring to most of our clients are on track for their goals. So it was much easier discussion, even though it was tough, and a lot more discussions to keep them in the market or in the strategies that they had selected to be in before the crisis were there.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that. Yeah, definitely wasn't an easy time during the pandemic for all walks of life, even in, common life. I'm sure that your personal life was also affected. But of course, your career, your profession, and of course the stock market, which has an impact on just about everyone investing in it. I'm sure that, the difficulty was there, but I'm glad that we all got through and we're into 2021 safely. So leading on to my second question, I see that you have received a CFP, a Certified Financial Planner, and a CHFC, Chartered Financial Consultant certification. Could you please explain what they are and why exactly you need them for your given profession as a financial advisor?
Yeah, so the designations are allow you to go through a curriculum. It's almost like, how you as a kid is going to go through the school, the college, and you go through a 4-year program to just get the basic education. But then when you go into the real life and you apply, not everything will directly translate from what you learned in college, but it just gives you the framework which allows you to apply the learnings in real life. So similarly, the designations that I took allowed me to get the basics in, and I took a lot of designation because I wanted to get all the basics down fast. So I have all the basics with the designations like CFP or CPWA, which is Chartered Private Wealth Advisor, and Certified Private Wealth Advisor. And what that allows us to do is when we are helping clients, it allows us to bring all the experiences from what we have learned and then apply our own intuition on top of it. Because planning and investment is both art and a science. So the science is the designation, the art comes with experience.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is you're taking that given previous knowledge, also what you're learning in a professional manner, and then applying that to the workplace, as of course, knowledge is wealth in this world. So knowledge can create an infinite amount of wealth.
Yeah, people can take away your wealth, but once you have known some stuff, or once your mind has been expanded with the knowledge, nobody can take that away from you. Your experiences and your knowledge always stay with you.
Exactly. Yep. Knowledge is gold. So on to our third question. So I've heard about many terms such as a financial advisor, a financial planner, a wealth planner, and a wealth manager. Are they the same or are they different? And if they are different, could you please explain to our viewers?
So there are subtle differences in all these terms. So typically you'll hear the word broker or financial planner. A planner typically would only do the planning piece in general, right? So if you go to them, they'll say, okay, here are your goals, here are how you can get them. A financial advisor not only does the planning, but they'll also do the money management piece for you. And that's where it stops. The wealth manager looks at all aspects of your life that impact you from money perspective. So whether they are getting paid or not. So for example, if you have aging parents, that might impact your wealth. A wealth manager would look at that. Typically an advisor or a planner, financial advisor, financial planner would only be limited to what your wealth is. So if you have assets outside US, how to make things more simple, right? Everybody can make it more complicated. The genius is when you take complicated stuff and make it simple. So a wealth manager is what most people should strive for, but most people will end up with a financial advisor or a financial planner.
Okay, and I like how you said that when it comes to the complex issues and problems that we come across, oftentimes it's not necessarily about solving the issue, but breaking it down into simpler processes. People look at opportunities as issues, but simply we have to break them down into simpler matters. And I know, of course, what all the items that you're doing is much more complex for, say, for example, a common day client to understand. But I think it's very important that you obviously have that skill to break that down into simple terms, bite-sized terms for everyone to understand. So moving on to our next question. So this is more career-based. This is to really inspire the viewers who are interested in becoming financial planners or wealth planners. So if someone wants to become a financial planner or wealth planner like you, how would he or she usually get compensated for his or her work?
So I would answer the question differently. It is the amount of time and energy you need to put in first, and then you look at compensation. It's almost like if somebody wants to become a doctor, they put in 6 to 8 years, making almost $35,000 to $45,000 when they're doing their residency and fellowship and super specialization. And then when they graduate, just go from like 40 or 50,000 income directly to $500,000 or $1 million.
Yeah.
What a lot of people do is they try to come in the finance world because they get enamored by the amount of money they can make, and they want to start making the $300,000-$400,000 upfront. Yeah. Because people who try to do that, they end up getting stuck in that wealth level for a long time. So one of the things, if somebody's interested in this field, is to read a lot of books on investments, or eventually when you graduate out of school or even before, do some internship work with somebody that you know who you would like to be. And a great mentor of mine, George, always said that don't only look at somebody who makes good money, also make sure you look at their lifestyle. So if they make a lot of money, but they don't have, their kids are not well educated, or they don't behave well, or their family life is ruined, make sure that you don't go after only money, because typically you'll end up with their money and their lifestyle also. So look for the person that you respect with the way they treat their kids, their family, and also make good money and planning. Do an internship with them, and they can guide you more as to else you'll need. But of course, getting some designation never hurts, right? Like you said, wealth is knowledge is wealth. So if you get more designations, it just only allows them to get that much better.
Yes. And, I just really wanted to take away some points from what you just said. Oftentimes people are masked by the fact that they're intrigued to get into these jobs. I know wealth can be a motivation, but it can also cloud a person's judgment. Oftentimes people are not passionate about their work. And I think, as complex as a job as a financial advisor, there's a reason why financial advisors and people in this realm are making so much money is because of their effort and their constant strive for growth. So like you said, growth is always important. And when you're at a plateau, it can be sometimes discouraging. So having the right qualifications is always important.
Yeah, like you mentioned the word passion. I think passion is overused. It's almost like you want to be obsessed with what you're doing.
Exactly, yeah.
If you're obsessed with what you're trying to do, money would just come on its own.
Yeah, so it has to be an addiction. The work itself has to be the addiction. And then, like you said, money will come afterwards.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next question. So looking at your profile, it seems like your family is prosperous in medicine, very heavily involved in the medical field, but you obviously have not chosen this field. Therefore, what inspired you to get into the financial field and into finance?
Oh, it's a story you would not believe, but you might because we share the same common heritage. I was born and brought up in India, and I always wanted to come to the US. And the only way you could come to one of the only ways you can come to the US was if you became an engineer, then you can come to the US to pursue further studies without actually getting married. Mm-hmm. So that's why I chose engineering. And then eventually I switched from engineering to finance.
Okay. That's an interesting story, of course. And yeah, so it looks like you also looking across your profile, it also looks like you graduated with a master's in computer science, which is extremely impressive. But when did you decide to switch over to a financial profession?
Yeah, thanks for seeing that. I went to University of Southern Cal in LA. I did my master's in computer science. It's a great program. Mm-hmm. Then I moved to New Jersey, where I was working at Bell Labs, Lucent Technologies, and I worked there for 5 years. And while I was there, I did a second master's from Stevens in technology management.
Wow, yeah.
And that's where I got the technology management executive masters is more like taking nerds who are like engineers and giving them more marketing, sales, finance background.
Oh, okay.
So that brought my interest into finance. And then in 2002, when the market was very soft, the computer science market, because that's when the internet com had busted, I was looking for an alternate career, and that's how I ended up being in the financial field.
Okay, well, that's also a very interesting path, as you said, becoming, going into computer science, becoming an engineer in the United States was probably one of the only ways. But of course, that didn't stop you. You started that profession. You got your master's and your certification, but then you did what you really love to do. And of course, in the financial realm. So moving on to more of a curated advice for our users, especially those who are in high school, as we're curating to teenagers, high school students who really want to look to getting into proper colleges in order to orient themselves for their careers. So if a high school student wants to become a financial advisor, what is the general academic path that he or she would have to take? Does he or she need a certain degree, certificates from specific programs, or any specific classes? Examples like that.
Yeah, there are a couple of colleges that have a specific program designated to becoming a financial planner or an advisor. So one of the ways is you can pursue that. Otherwise, you can also look at an economics degree. So if you have an economics degree, then also you can pursue finance.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it's always going to be followed by additional designations that you'll need. So for example, people who work on the Wall Street or in investments, even though you have financial designation, you'll still end up getting something called like a Series 7 license that allows you to work more into it. Eventually, people can also become like a chartered financial analyst, commonly known as CFA, and that allows them to become like money managers of, you might have heard a concept called mutual funds.
Yes, yeah.
So people who manage money typically in mutual funds are generally chartered financial analysts. So that's the other way you can get that.
And also, I wanted to ask a quick question with the stocks and mutual funds. So I know there's other bonds and ETFA, things like that, or sorry, ETA. So I just wanted to ask a simple question. I know many viewers are probably asking that question a lot, thinking about that in their heads when they think about the financial realm. What is the difference between a mutual fund and a stock, just to explain to the viewers, and how exactly is one better than the other, or if they're both equally as profitable?
So stock is typically, if you have a corporation like Disney, you can buy stock in Disney Corporation. So you are a part owner of the corporation when you buy Disney stock.
Okay.
But you also have risk. If something goes wrong with the company, you end up losing it because you're betting on one company, which is Disney in this example. And if you buy a mutual fund which invests in stocks like Disney,
Mm-hmm.
the fund manager and the organization is responsible for selecting the stocks. And they typically don't have one stock. They'll typically have anywhere between 50 to 100 plus stocks in general, most mutual funds.
Yeah.
So your money is diversified in multiple stocks, and you've hired professionals who make the buy and sell decision. So typically mutual fund may not get you as high return as you would have gotten if you bought like one individual stock.
Yeah.
But the money is much more well diversified and you have a professional running it.
And as you were saying, when it comes to high risk and high reward, I think that's what my school teachers really taught me about. Higher the risk, higher the reward in stock market. But of course, like you said, there are some other susceptibilities to that. We did a little project in our class where we actually did investing, but we did not have the option of mutual funds. And our teacher walked us through saying, if you invested in mutual funds, about 95% of the kids were actually going to make more money. So as you said, a higher risk and higher reward. And also building up off of the certification, like you were saying, some programs. There are some programs in high school that I've heard of, such as accounting. So so when it comes to your college classes that you're taking, do you need to have some sort of background knowledge when it comes to the actual degree that you're looking for in order to become a financial advisor, or do you start from scratch in college?
You pretty much start from scratch, but having an accounting background, being really good with math, really good with numbers. So you need the accounting side of it, like the understanding the numbers.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Effective planner. You also need more like psychology, because you have to, it's not only having knowledge is not good enough, right? You need to make sure that the people that you're talking to, they actually understand and they actually can implement and stick with the plan. Because if they don't stick with the plan, they are not going to, the best strategy is not going to work.
Okay.
So you need to be good at understanding a little bit of the psychology and how to work with the clients, because everybody needs a different way of getting convinced. Right? So some people might need a lot more handholding. Some people are okay if you talk to them once every 6 months. So you need to have that understanding, and that only comes with like experience. It's like watching a Saving Private Ryan is not the same as being actually in the war for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you were saying, like, I like that analogy too. And I think everyone can really understand the fact that school is very important, not just in the fact that you have programs here that prep you for your career specifically, but like you said, all subjects come into play, of course, with your wordplay, your grammar, your articulation, your public speaking. And of course, with mathematics, you have to be really good with numbers, and through accounting, not just specific job-oriented topics, but other background knowledge that you need to have.
Absolutely.
Yep. So going on to our next question, I just wanted to ask if you could walk us through your day-to-day life as a financial advisor. So throughout your profession, how much time does it take up in your day? Do you sometimes go with sleepless nights? And what exactly are you doing on a day-to-day basis as a financial advisor?
So typically 3 parts that we do. We have existing clients that we need to do the planning for. I manage a lot of money, so the investment strategies, I look at the strategies and see if there were any tweaks we need to make. The last part is the implementation. Mm-hmm. So if I strategize, meet with the clients, tweak the investment strategies, and then we have to implement everything that we discuss with the clients. It's almost like a plane going from like a New Jersey to LA. Even though we have a flight path, the plane is not on the flight path for over 80% of the time. So we need to make that small adjustments as we are going through it so we can land on the destination safely on time.
Okay. And then kind of building up off of that, when it comes to your day-to-day life, what is the most challenging part of your job? For example, what are some tough decisions that you have to make? Maybe not on a day-to-day basis, but some just in general, some tough decisions that you have to make as a financial advisor with your kind of experience and caliber.
It's more about making sure that the clients understand that the plan and strategy that they have put in place, and that it would they just have to trust that it's going to work, and make sure that they stick with the plan. It's almost like if you plant something in September, October, like the bulbs, you're not going to know if it is dead or if it's still there underground and it's just going to flourish in springtime. But you just have to trust Mother Nature that if you plant 10 bulbs, seven to nine of them are most likely going to be okay. One of them may not work out. So hand holding and making sure people stick with the plan that's put in place. The toughest time we have is where clients don't stick with the plan, and it's like computers, right? Garbage in, garbage out. So if they gave us wrong information, their output is wrong also. But we don't know the output is wrong because we don't know if the information is accurate or not. Only the client knows it. So if the client, most common thing we find is the clients understating their expenses and overspending. They're like it's keeping up with the Joneses, right? People want to like spend a lot more and thinking that brings happiness. So, yes. But we don't have that problem with bulk of our clients. Most of our clients live within their means. They're all down to earth people. So that's a great part of helping amazing people.
Of course, yeah, and also you're going to be as an advisor. I feel like I like the term. Also there's multiple realms to this: wealth manager, wealth planner. But one thing that really captivates me about a financial advisor and all these jobs in general is that you're also communicating with the person. You're educating them throughout the whole process, so I can understand how difficult it can really be. Not only are you managing the wealth, taking care of investments, making smart investment plans, but you're also having to explain this to the common people who don't have this knowledge for good reason. And I can understand where that difficulty comes from. But of course, that quality, that certification, like you said, you have to be not only passionate, but you have to be obsessed. You have to be addicted to your work in order to actually, make that output worthwhile. So on to our last and final question. So I know that you have teenage kids and you're also involved with clients who have teenage kids whom you advise. So with your unique perspectives and experiences with teenage students, can you please share your knowledge and wisdom with teenagers like myself and the viewers? Say, for example, it could be college planning, student loans after college, when it comes to, say, for example, the teenager after they graduate college and become adults and their down payment for their house. What are some unique perspectives that you have and some general advice that you would give to the viewers?
So number one is most of our clients love the fact they don't look at spending money on their kids' education as expense, right? Because expense is something when you don't get a return. Yeah. But they look at it as investment. So if they spend $50,000 for 4 years, and that's $200,000, and if their kids are going to graduate and say, let's say, as an example, make $100,000 a year for next 30 years, that's an amazing investment, right? You spend 200 and you're going to make 100,000 at least for the next 30 years. So our clients are really trying to help their kids go through college and hopefully come out without taking any loans. On the contrary, we want to make sure like the kids do some additional work, because your success is directly proportional to, in a big way, for the amount of work you have put in before you turn age 20. So if they work, we want to make sure they start saving early. And the rule of thumb is pay yourself first. So even if you make $1, make sure you save 10 cents. Doesn't matter if you're only making $50 or $100 a month, save the 10 cents on the dollar. And if you have this habit, 3 things to becoming well off in life: make money, save money, and allocate money. Make money is your piece. Save money is also your piece, right? You can make good money, but if you don't do a great job of saving it, you're still going to be broke. If you make money and you save money, then the third thing, which is allocate money, that's where you can get a help from a wealth manager who can make sure that the money is allocated well.
All right. So thank you, Mr. Patel. Thank you for doing this interview. Thank you for joining us and sharing all of your advice with everyone here at this platform. And yeah, so that'll be it, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This has been the eCoreAcademy e-learning platform. Please make sure to smash that subscribe button down below. Hit that like button on this video. Drop a comment down below. Turn on post notifications by clicking that little bell icon right next to the subscribe button. This has been AJ and Mr. Patel, and we'll see you guys in the next one.